we could feel disempowered because we have like a certain idea of what we should be in order to succeed. So like we think we have to do things this way, exactly this way, in order to be successful down the line. But you'll be presented challenges along the way, and you're to address those challenges, but you have no idea in what ways you'll be rewarded down the line. So like, so yeah, I had an idea of what I want to do with my life, and like never turns out the way that I want it to be, but in that way it's better. It's like everything's like I'm in for a surprise. So I try not to control life anymore. I still, I have this thoughts. I get fixated, like things should be this way. It's those times when we become like very serious about life. Like I need to do this or succeed. That's when there's seriousness. It feels like there's a heavy energy that we feel very exhausted and we're unhappy. When we treat it like an experiment, we say like, I'm just curious how to solve this problem. I see life as a mystery.
Right.
Then life will take you places. It'll take you places that you won't imagine.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny that you said that, because I think you almost quoted it like this book I'm reading. It's called the Surrender Experiment. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I have not. I want to hear what this book is about.
It's basically what you just said. You just like gave me like a summary of the book.
Cool.
But it's basically just that, surrendering to life and letting life carry you,
Yes.
So I guess it's really hard for us to be okay with that idea of having no control over life. I mean, there are things that we have control over, but at the end of the day, everything is unpredictable, right? You don't really know. And I think there is like a balance, between, okay, this is how much control I have, but this is also how much I have to let go of that control, and yeah, so I'm still trying to figure out all these things, but of course, like talking to people like you is helping me, because it's giving me a different perspective, even though basically all you said resonates a lot with what I believe. So I mean, to me, this is just an indication that I'm moving in the right direction.
Right. Well, the thing is, we're all giving each other puzzle pieces. So by connecting, I'm learning things from you, and you're learning things from me. But it's the same puzzle. So everything like will come together, right? So it's like we'll find out, oh yeah, there's some similarity in what we're doing because we're working on the same puzzle together. We just don't know about it.
Right. And that's why I'm so grateful that you're joining me here today, bro. And I'm curious, like, what's next for Leo Tsao, in the next 5 years?
Oh, next 5 years. That's a really good question. Every single time I say I'm going to do this in 5 years, I always end up in a very different place. It's always very different. I think the most important thing is I bring my energy, whatever that is. Like, I think I bring a lot of heart and genuineness to things, such as like when I make artwork, music. Everything's like very raw from my soul, or when I write as well. So I do a lot of writing. I mean, I would like to write a book, or just play more music. I don't know exactly how. How that's going to show up in my life, but like, but so long as I'm like in touch with that, I think, and I share, I think for me it'll be a meaningful journey.
Right. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, Because,
yes.
Like you said earlier, a lot of times we want to please our parents or our family members and do what they want out of us, but and we forget, about our needs, right? And
yes.
You gotta be, don't they say you gotta be selfish before you become selfless, right? So that's great. So you're just basically just following along, like nothing. Like
I think people like to think like, when I reach this point in life, I'll start to have everything figured out. Like then I'll start to live, or I start to find my purpose. But the whole thing is your purpose. Like ever since you're born, even making all the mistakes, doing all the wrong things, letting go of the things that are not you, that is equally as meaningful as finding things that are you and finding your path, because everything is along the path. I think we want to kind of say, okay, that path is not worth it, right? But everything was worth it. Everything is linked together into one long pathway. And when we accepted the whole entire pathway, that's where we feel like a sense of confidence. We go moving forward, because we're no longer trying to get it right, because we get anxious about, am I on the path, am I not on the path? Then we have that stress. But we're always on a path, even if we're finding out what does not belong to us. And so everything is part of the whole.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And if we could just be okay with it, then we would stop suffering so much, trying to like pull our hairs out and go crazy over simple things. Right?
Part of being human, like I think that's part of the process too. It's like we're going to be anxious and we really want to do like the right thing or what's correct. Like every human has, like I always have this kind of feelings all the time. I think for me, like we're given them. It's like it's kind of like part of the challenge, or it's part of like what helps us to grow, is to have those emotions, but also see past them as well.
Right. Detach from the emotion. This is not me. This is just temporary. This is gonna go. Yeah.
Also detach from having to have these feelings go away.
Even that, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like love your emotions. I read that somewhere. Like love your crazy emotions, because at the end of the day, the moment you accept them, paradoxically, you liberate yourself, and you're not like beating yourself up too much over things that belong to you. Because at the end of the day, our emotions are part of who we are, and you put it beautifully. So yes, I totally agree, bro. What would you tell your 20-year-old self if you had to do it over again? Would you change anything?
That's a good question. I always, because as a human being, I do think, I would have preferred to have known this or done that, or I prefer to have have developed these tools for my life so that I'll have like a better start, right? But I think like the most important thing like is just for me to be wherever I'm at, and be one with it, no matter what. Kind of like what you mentioned about like the surrender experiment, like surrendering to what is, like whatever, because at that time I thought a certain kind of way, I saw things a certain kind of way. Like I don't see it that way anymore. But I don't want to erase how I used to look at things, because in life we've had many different perspectives, or diversity of perspectives, and we often think, I should know then what I know now. But that would be like erasing all those perspectives and saying like my present perspective is the correct one, but you don't even know if that's the correct one, because you'll have many more down the future. So but I think every perspective was worth it. Like every chapter of my life had its own place. Like there's a place to like not having the right, you don't have sufficient tools. You didn't know enough, but that's appropriate for that time. So 20-year-old myself didn't know a lot of things that I wish that 20-year-old self of myself would actually know, but he did not know that, and that's okay, because that's his life then. That's his life then. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you struggle with that thought, if I only knew then what I know now, which a lot of us do, I recommend you reading this article called Finding Peace from Seeking Perfection in Life. This is an article that I've written, and you're welcome to read this article. I've posted it down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching this video.